the church is always really focused on being able to tell the story of the gospel through immersive experiences, whatever the medium is that is kind of the vernacular of the time. Stained glass windows, like frescoes, the story of the gospel being superimposed over the entire ceiling of a church. Like this was how we taught the gospel to the illiterate, ritual and story. And so modern people experience culture and immersive storytelling through cinema. Video games is perhaps like the closest second to that, but cinema is still kind of the modern cathedral. And as people enter into a story, whether it's in a theater or even just like streaming in their own home theaters, they are imbibing the culture in whatever way whoever is telling it. And unfortunately, uh, the church and perhaps just like her allies have moved towards direct education and like sort of cognition, the hacking of minds through education and through politics as the main way that we have invested in sharing the gospel, like apologetics, books, publishing, speaking, lessons, talks, talking heads. This is what we're used to. This is where we have put all of our chips. And the sort of culture at large, whether it's because of the amount of money that it takes to make film or whatever, they they've put all of their chips in being further upstream. Like cinema, storytelling, art, creativity, things that push culture forward. That's where the I guess those who have wanted to affect modern culture have sort of staked their ground and have won that ground. And the problem now is that unfortunately the culture and sort of the ideas that underpin that world, and I don't want to be really judgmental in how I'm talking about it, but just the underpinning ideals of Hollywood right now are propaganda in the same way that Christian storytelling, as we have known it in many evangelical films that have come out that have been really like saccharine and disappointing, all of that uh, is disappointing, I think, mostly because it's got an idea that it's trying to shove down the throats of whoever is watching this story. And once you get into that world where you're no longer interested in exploring reality and the mystery of it, but you're trying to force an idea that is sort of a political agenda, you're now leaving the world of storytelling and you're entering into sort of a very saccharine two-dimensional world. And whatever they do, like Hollywood is sort of vapidly falling apart because of that. And whenever you see decay happening in an industry, it might start and look like a moral decay, but that always is followed by a actual decay, a material decay. And what we're seeing there is that the whole sort of movie industry is really falling apart. Nobody really knows what to do right now because streaming has sort of distributed films in a way that makes it very hard for theaters to kind of catch up. And social media has made it has created this sort of race to the bottom where now people are watching 2-minute bite size, very two dimensional, like Hallmark everything type videos on social. And uh, you can't make any money through all of these things because there's a million greedy middlemen that are not wanting to change, and so they're all taking cuts of everything as you're like making the movie and getting it out there. And so no matter how much a sort of Christian person wants to make a movie and start a business to kind of take on Hollywood, they're basically going through a meat grinder of a decaying, decrepit, very uncreative industry where everything has been done the same way for 20 years and is really falling apart. So for us, we are trying to do something very inventive and very different at every single step of the way. And it's, because we're underpinned by a story of St. Maximilian Kolbe, who himself was incredibly creative. We're telling a creative story. We have values that are really fresh. and that's outputting in like an incredibly entrepreneurial way that we're making the film. And I can kind of talk more about that if you want to ask more questions, but I think that's a good place to sort of leave off and let you respond.
Well, I'm trying to think of this quote, and I don't know if it was from Glenn Beck, or if he got it from somewhere else. And I've been trying to partially remember it while you were talking, and it's something like entertainment shapes values, um, values impact. What is it? Entertainment creates. The point is, without butchering it horribly, entertainment is where it starts, and that impacts culture, values, and ultimately the future. So I think it stuck out to me. I've heard the phrase, um, from the Catholic's perspective, that faith lives upstream from culture. And it's interesting you kind of said too that um, that's kind of where they've claimed, and the perversion, the corruption is flowing down into the culture, and they did kind of win that ground, and we have to reclaim it. And I think that it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I've talked with um, I'm in a position where I speak with a lot of young Catholics who are really eager to go into the film industry, and they're just naive, and they just don't know the reality. Um, and there's a relative who she's ready to, with the college she's about to go to pursue film, and she's like, "What advice do you have?" And I don't know if I like destroyed her kind of enthusiasm, but I basically was like, the way that you're thinking about it. It's like it's a dying industry, and we need to be on the cusp of something new, and I think that companies like yours are kind of trailblazing in that way. Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen to this conversation. If you enjoyed it, please like, follow, subscribe, all of those options, and share it with anyone who you think might enjoy this conversation as well. And finally, should you feel so called, I ask for any support that you can give. It allows me to continue having conversations like this to share with others, and be that a prayer, which is more than enough, or monetarily, I'm grateful for all of it. So, again, thank you so much, and God bless.